That's,
topic,
yeah,
right?
okay, great.
Yeah.
So today's topic is how COVID-19 coronavirus impacts the wine industry. I already have a few questions for you, but you want to start and share your opinion first?
Yeah, I can do that. Of course, I thought about it.
Yeah,
First of
great.
all, on the short term, it creates problems. It creates problems for example, because almost everywhere in the world the on-trade is closed now, and that means that wine importers selling wine to the on-trade got a huge problem because their sales collapsed completely. So wine producers who are actually supplying distributors and importers who sell mostly to off-trade got a huge problem as well. To on-trade, sorry, to on-trade. Got a huge problem as well. So if you are a supplier, for example, of retail, of supermarket chains, then maybe you're in a good position now for the moment. Although at the same time, there are other very practical issues. Logistics are becoming problematic. I hear people saying that they find it hard to get, I don't know, bottles delivered, corks delivered, to get trucks to bring wine from one place to the other. So this is also impacting the wine industry. Altogether, and this is maybe my most important point, I think this problem is coming at a moment where already the wine business is not performing very well. The wine industry has to face a number of issues since a year or so. For example, the decline of the Chinese market last year, minus 13%. Problems of Brexit, which are maybe at the moment not yet influencing sales to the
But
UK,
next year, I think it will influence more.
The UK market, where Trump has been levying extra taxes on certain European products and wines,
in the US
part
market,
of a trade war. So you know, this is all very bad news. Actually, the combination of all these things and then the COVID-19 situation. Shutting down pro wine isn't very helpful either for wine producers, because they need the fairs to. I would say what they need fairs for is to bring new energy into their business each year again. You know, it's at the major fairs like Pro Wine, like Vinitaly, Vinexpo, which now was held in Paris just before the whole.
Actually, they were the only lucky ones.
They were the lucky ones.
Did it.
They were the lucky ones, yeah, and they did miss their Chinese clients, because already at that moment the Chinese didn't travel to Europe anymore, so that was a setback. But nevertheless, the fair was altogether successful. I was there for 3 days. But missing pro wine, that is for many producers really very bad, because now they haven't met their customers, they haven't been able to propose new products, they haven't been able to find new customers. So I would say altogether it's a very, very almost poisonous mix at the moment for the wine business. It's really not good.
Actually, I was thinking the other day, and I came up with an idea, not an idea, but a term: three musketeers: Trump, Boris Johnson, Brexit, and COVID-19. Now the three musketeers of the wine industry. And it's, I mean, I'm not super positive. I don't know what you think. Or do you think that it's going to be a just short-term fluctuation in the wine industry? No.
Well, of course, it's very hard to say, but again, you know, Burgundy was already under pressure. Bordeaux was under pressure. Champagne will have a huge problem, because who the hell is going to drink champagne in these days? Nobody. Champagne is something, you know, related to drinking an entree, drinking as an aperitif, drinking for celebration. There's nothing to celebrate at the moment. So champagne will have a huge problem. And to be honest, it's not that I'm hoping for it, but I expect really some major problems in major. Think of Piemonte as well. You know, I'm expecting huge problems in some very important areas at the high end of the market, especially.
Okay, so do you think that this crisis will teach us something in the wine industry, to wine producers, wine sellers, wine distributors, or will this crisis change things eventually?
No, I don't think so. Well, I don't know, but I don't think so. If I think back of former crisis periods in the wine business, the last major crisis, that's a long time ago, it was the early 90s when in 1991, the Kuwait War and the resulting worldwide economic problems. That also created a huge slump in the wine business. And prices came down massively in many regions. And honestly, I think that is what is going to happen now as well. I think Bordeaux, Bourgogne, Champagne, Piemonte, many will have to go down in prices.
And
it will take time before you come back again.
Yeah, and do you think even the fine wine producers will lower the prices, the iconic producers, or they will just stay where they are? Yeah.
Well, maybe not. Domaine Romanée Conti and Coche de Riz, but even for them it must get hard now, I think. And you know, on the other end, to be honest, I think there's also a lot of hot air in wine prices nowadays, and there are many wines in the world, supposedly great wines, which are way too expensive, out of touch with reality, and it may also, in a way, I don't know. Let's say that my general feeling is always in situations like this that, for example, you know, when the restaurant market, the restaurant business gets into problems, then usually the really good ones, the 2 and 3 stars, whatever, they manage, but people are less prepared to pay a lot of money for those who are almost good or actually pretending to be Michelin starred but aren't, you know, if you understand. And that's what I call hot air. And I think in wine we have huge amounts of hot air, and in the higher priced wines, and so maybe this situation will be good for something that, at least, I mean, not for the producers, of course, who produce the too expensive wines, but for us, that maybe certain crazy things will, I don't know, will calm down a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, in the meantime, we are also having questions, but since our sessions are so super short, we don't have time to answer all the questions, but maybe we can get back to that later. But there's one question from Sergi: increase of the speculation on the big names.
Sorry?
Increase of the speculation on the big names. Sergi, what do you mean? The big names, the wine producers. And okay, as Sergi is typing, I have another question. Actually, I have many questions, but I think we won't be able to answer everything. But on the other hand, you were talking about on-trade and Michelin restaurants. At the same time, now the consumer, the end consumer, is saving money. But I'm not talking about the people who are losing their jobs at the moment. There's also a big impact on that. But the people who are still continuing to work from home, at the moment they can save money. And I think when this crisis is over, everyone will go out. Everyone will want to dine, go to wine bars. Do you think it will
true,
impact? Yeah.
But that's that will be a short impact, because, you know, let's just say, I mean, our government just announced half an hour ago that many measures will be continued till the 1st of June, actually, whereas and that's a long period now. We're looking at a long period now. So personally, I think that that we have to count on April and May totally lost. And of course, let's just say hypothetically that on the 1st of June, we are allowed to go to restaurants again. And sure, we will go to restaurants and we'll be happy and we'll celebrate that. For how much time? 1, 2, 3 weeks? That's not going to make up for 3 months of loss. So, of course, there will be some recuperation, but I mean, I'm living in the Netherlands. This is a rich country, and our government is throwing huge amounts of money at companies to survive, to be able to pay their employees, doing everything they can do, the government, to prevent bankruptcies, etc. But what do you think is going to happen in the south of Europe? They can't do that, not to the same extent, and in Eastern Europe and etc. So yes, of course, there will be a little bit of recuperation at one stage, but never completely. I don't believe that.
Yeah, and also the other side of the story is, like we talked about a little bit, on trade and off trade, but also online. So online sales globally, actually it has been over like since 10 years very trendy, and it was like really blooming. But I think, from my personal point of view and my experience in the industry, wine industry was not keeping up with that. But now the almost only option for, not all the wines obviously, but the ones that are not for off trade, they can only sell online nowadays. And I think, again, wine industry was not really prepared for this, and they didn't have their strategies ready. And now they are trying to build up strategies and to act. So I mean, what do you think? Do you think it will change the future of the online sales in the wine industry?
I have strong doubts about that. I recently read a research, but I forgot where they did that. But they were researching consumer behavior regarding wine in millennials. And funny enough, millennials have a strong preference for wine shops compared to online. They like to go into, yeah, absolutely. They want to go into a shop, touch the bottle, and buy it on the spot. And I mean, I don't know if anyone has really strong figures on market shares of online, but if I think back of the expectations that everybody had of online wine business when online became important by the end of the 1990s, we never got to the point that everybody expected at that time. And of course, I understand what you're saying. You translate that as being maybe a sort of conservative approach of the wine business. And I'm the first one to admit that wine business is very conservative and traditional, absolutely. Nevertheless, I am not sure whether online will ever become more important than buying wine in shops, and that includes, of course, supermarkets. And and the one thing is for sure, talking about supermarkets, that wherever you look in Europe, you still see that the market share of supermarkets in wine distribution continues to increases.
Yeah, and so I guess said that beer sales is beer consumption here in Spain. Beer consumption increased 78%, not wine, which is decreasing. As Frank said, there is nothing to celebrate in the moment, he said. Yeah, and actually someone asked, no, two people asked what I'm drinking. So Frank, make a guess. Make a guess what I'm drinking.
Is it Turkish wine?
No, it's not. I wish I had some Turkish wine here, but I don't have. So if any Turkish producer wants to send me Turkish wines, very welcome.
No, I think it's Gran Sangre de Toro.
How do you know it? Yes, I'm drinking Sangre de Toro.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Good.
But you know what? Like, Gran Sangre de Toro, I like that wine. Huh? I think it's absolutely a well-made wine.
It is. I fully agree.
Yeah, it is.
No. Yes, I think somebody's blocking me. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody's blocking me. They heard that I'm drinking Sangre de Toro. Yeah, okay, so we already passed our time, which was scheduled for today. And sorry, guys, we couldn't read all the questions and we couldn't answer the questions because it's our first time and I'm a newbie doing these sessions. I cannot keep up with all the questions. Sergi, just get back to Sergi's questions. Yes, he's mentioning the big names like Romani Conti. Any speculation on the big names, he asked.
Right now?
We were talking about, yeah. Yeah, right now with this, with the big, with the change. I think it was when we were mentioning about the price change in the future.
Well, I don't know if indeed prices go. Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't like to talk too much about speculation, but if prices go down, then those who have recently speculated on wines like that will be in a bad position. But it might be interesting to buy. Well, let's take for example the 2019 Bordeaux en primeur campaign. Which is, of course, all over the place and in a dreadful state now because the en primeur tastings that should start next week have all been cancelled.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
And the market is already not very good for Bordeaux for a while. 19 is a good vintage. From what I hear, I mean, I haven't been able to taste it, but from what I hear from my friends in Bordeaux, it's a good vintage. And I wouldn't be surprised if prices really go down, and then it would be interesting to buy. But to see that as speculation for future profit, that really depends on the chateau and on the wine. Maybe the top names, and you have to be patient anyway. Yeah.
Actually, maybe we can get back to this topic on Friday, because on Friday we will be talking about investing in fine wine. So maybe we can briefly talk about this strategy. If you are here on Friday, 7:30, we can get back to that again.